I'm currently living in a storage unit. My landlords decided not to renew my lease this year.
Day one of living in the storage unit. I was able to get electricity so I could start cooking.
What you mean moving things around? Yo, can't be sleeping in here, bro.
More and more Americans are struggling to do the basics like put a roof over their head. Many cannot qualify for apartments or afford to buy a home, and that's tough. As they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. Many are now choosing to live inside of storage units. As an American who saw the writing on the wall and got out years ago, I'm making this video to let you know there are better options. Shalom, it's No Limit Eddie. I'm a 25-year-old American who has been traveling the world full-time for the last 4 years straight, and I've documented every moment of that journey right here on this YouTube channel. If that's not interesting to you, drop a like on today's video so YouTube recommends you more content you'll love. Now let's dive into my commentary on this matter. First and foremost, I don't have a problem with this content being posted. Where I kind of have a problem is the fact that is being watched by each and every one of those clips you guys saw had millions and millions of views on it, hundreds of thousands of likes. And I'm a content creator. I've been a content creator for the last few years. I had my most viral video ever. It occurred last year, maybe 7-8 months ago. It was around the same topic, affordable housing. I showed a tour of a $98 fully furnished apartment in the country of Egypt. And people were in the comment section saying, what's the name of this apartment? How can I get in contact with you? How can I rent this place out? I'm moving here. People, okay, were watching that video. They saw the thumbnail and clicked on it because they themselves are interested in finding a more affordable accommodation, a more affordable way to live. And so people are watching these videos on TikTok, not for purely entertainment purposes, like, ha ha ha, he he. No, people are watching these videos as like, wait, I can try that. Let me go to my local storage unit. That's showing you guys that right now, housing is so unaffordable, people are willing to live inside of a storage unit. Something that is made for inanimate objects. They, as the highest life form on earth, are now thinking about living in it. This takes me to point number 2, the psyop that America is the greatest country on earth. When I say psyop, I mean psychological operation. I want you to think about this. They say necessity is the mother of all invention, right? Or like I said in the beginning of this video, desperate times call for desperate measures. People are choosing to live inside of storage units. They have no windows inside these storage units. They have no ventilation inside these storage units. There's oftentimes going to be cockroaches and rats and mice living within these storage units. They're not even getting the biggest storage units. Their mind went to, let me take myself to live inside of a place that was created to store objects, instead of, let me get in my car and drive down to Mexico, where I can get a very nice apartment for $300 a month. Let me go to my nearest airport, get on a plane, fly to Thailand or fly to Vietnam or fly to Egypt and go get a place for $200 a month. The fact that there's the only country that exists for most Americans, the only country that exists in the world is America. And if it's not America, then we think like the UK, like, oh, that's a civilized nation, but everything else just doesn't exist. It runs so deep that people would, like, the dude who showed one of the storage units, he had the tiny one to eat ramen noodles in, he was paying $150 a month for the storage unit. My sister was paying $98 a month for a fully furnished apartment. So he's actually paying more money to live in a place that's actually illegal to live in. He's paying more money to live in a place with no furniture. He's paying more money to live in a place with no windows. He's paying more money to live in a storage unit than my sister did to live in a fully furnished apartment in the country of Egypt with Wi-Fi. Literally, you can go on a rooftop and see the beach. If I take a rock, I can throw the rock into the Red Sea. We can go walk there, swim whenever we want, and we're saving $50 a month on that in comparison to the storage unit that man had. Just really think about that, guys. Let me live inside of a storage unit versus going to a new country, right? Like, that's a psychological operation that needs to be studied. And one of the big reasons that people give as to why they can't leave America, like, I've been out for many years and I've had this YouTube channel for even longer than that. So people are always like, I want to go, but my family, my mom, my dad. You saw the first person in those clips that I showed you guys, he was like, he has family, but he's choosing to live in a storage unit. Why? Because his family wasn't helping him out. People are choosing to stay for their family, and their family is not doing anything to help them stay there. People would rather struggle on their own than to be well with their family, especially Americans, whether it's a white American or a black American. We don't have the desire to use group economics in most cases. Immigrants do, but the black Americans that have been there from time, they don't. The white Americans that have been there from time, they don't. They rather struggle on their own than to practice group economics, but would then say the reason why they can't leave is their family. It doesn't make any sense. Now, for some of you guys, you may be like, okay, Eddie, moving abroad does sound nice. It would be cool, but I actually have zero idea where to start. Well, so did I. I was the first person I knew that moved abroad. I didn't know anybody else that lived in a foreign country. I learned a lot of this through making connections on the continent before I got here, but also through personal experience. And I've compiled everything that I've learned over the last 4 years, and I put it inside of one book. I call it the Ultimate African Relocation Guide. You can pick up your copy right now today by scanning the QR code on your screen or by clicking the very first link in this video description. And let me tell you this right now. People are living in storage units in America. You cannot afford to not at least have a backup plan. Pick up your copy right now. The thing is, it's not even that these people who are living in these storage units are lazy, they're not working jobs. A lot of times these people actually have jobs, but it's just that the fact that the cost of living is significantly higher than the income that they're making. And I just saw right online that you need to make an average of $117,000 per year to comfortably be able to afford to like own a home in the US. The average person working the average job isn't making anywhere near $117,000 per year. Right? 6 figures is like a magic number. It's a coveted number in most people's minds, and people are not earning that. And then if you think about, okay, you say, okay, well, you don't have to own a home, you can rent a home. Well, the thing is, most places now are requiring you to make 3 times the rent. But the rent is so astronomically high to make 3 times that. If you're making 3 times that, you might as well buy the home, right? And so even just trying to qualify for a home between the credit score you need, between the deposits that you need, between the application fees that you need, between the income requirements that you need, it's actually unsustainable for some people. I remember even me, when I was getting my first apartment in Los Angeles, the amount of stress and headache and cost that was involved just in applying for a place, not even moving in, just applying for a place was astronomical. And that was back in 2021, before the massive boost in inflation. And I saw many people in the comment section saying like, yo, go out and get a job. It was one couple who ended up living behind a strip mall. And they were like, look, you can go to that Ross and get a job. Working at Ross in the US, where you're gonna get paid $9 an hour, $10 an hour, is not gonna get you accommodation. So many people are just out of touch even with what it takes to get a house or to get a rent or to get a mortgage nowadays. And there's a perfect way to illustrate this. There's a guy, his name was China Mac. He's a very popular content creator. And he's from LA. He's a Chinese guy. I think he does rapping. I don't quite know. But I know him as a YouTuber. He was making, he said like 15 to 20,000 a month. But he said like his bills were basically eating up all of that money. He could barely save any money afterwards, right? And he's an influencer, so he's buying clothes and he's doing these things. He said all his money was going to bills and just expenses. As a content creator, it's still able to make the same amount of money he makes from anywhere in the world. So he left the US, he was in California as well, like I was, and he went over to Asia, right? And so he's usually in the Philippines or Thailand or somewhere else in that region. He kind of travels around. And he's making the same amount of money he was making then, but now his rent went from like $7,000 a month to like $700. It actually doesn't matter about the amount you're making. It's just that the US is too expensive for what it is at this point in time. And it's pretty much just an overvalued good. And so again, somebody who was making $200K a year is even saying, yo, like, it's not worth it to be there anymore. Now you might be saying, well, in that case, like, well, he had a stream of income that allowed him to move around. I don't have that. I work a 9 to 5. How am I supposed to move abroad, Eddie? The thing is, anybody can learn to make money online. And in fact, I actually just wrote a free article or free report that you can read detailing exactly how I go about doing it. I'm in Uganda, so it's chickens. How I go about doing it and how you can actually partner with me to do the exact same thing. The report is free. Scan the QR code with your phone right now or click the very first link in the description. Read the report, figure out what it is that I do and how I can help you. So let's go into my final take on this matter. It is to get out while you can. See, I got out in 2021 and I'd say it was actually easier then than it is now. Because if you didn't get out when it was right before the inflation times happened, you're now almost in a form of indentured servitude where You're making just enough to pay your bills and not much left over. So it's very hard for you to save, to get a ticket, or to invest in programs, or to have extra money to buy your freedom back. It gets more difficult, but it is still possible. And I do believe it's actually going to get harder with time, not easier. Right now is probably the easiest time to get out, because it's only going to get more and more difficult in the future, if that makes sense. And so I think that what it comes down to, like, if you're in a position where you're like, okay, I'm ready to leave America, you're gonna have to lower your pride. You're gonna have to cut back on expenses. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to be in the mind state and in the mindset of you'll enjoy life in the future. Because I'll be honest with you guys, yes, moving abroad is amazing. Yes, moving abroad is significantly more affordable. Yes, moving abroad is more peaceful and more enjoyable. It does take money to do. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. You have to figure out how to make it, how to keep it, how to multiply it. You have to figure that out. Now, of course, I mentioned already my report where you can learn more about it, how you can work with me to help you go ahead and do what I do. But at the end of the day, guys, my final piece of advice is to get out while you can. Living inside of a storage unit is not made for human beings. It never was made for human beings. If you can lower your pride enough to do that, and you can't lower your pride enough to move out of the U.S., that goes to show that PSYOP, that psychological operation, that America's the best country ever, is too real and too powerful. Now look, the unsustainably high cost of living in the U.S. is only one of the reasons why I would never move back. To find out the other 4, watch the video that is on your screen right now.